Hey everybody, I'm Bob Lucido and this is the Bearcat Training Camp. Welcome back. Up to this point we've really been talking about getting the part of your business going that is the sharing part of the business, and obviously that's the most important thing and that's why we started there. But what we want to talk about today is some of the beginnings of how you build your organization. And what I want to talk about today is coach placement. I'm going to take this from some very beginning stuff all the way up to a little bit more advanced stuff for some of you higher level diamonds and such who are in the group here, okay? So, first thing, if you're a brand new coach, one thing that I want to draw your attention to is right in your coach online office, and hopefully by now you know how to get in there. When you get into that home page for your coach online office, up in the top bar, one of the choices, one of the tabs is My Business. And if you scroll over My Business, you'll get a drop-down window, and the very first choice is Preferred Placement. Okay? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. I want you to get used to where that is. And every single time you sign up a coach, especially in the beginning, you're going to start by going into your own online office and making sure that your preferred placement is set, because that's going to determine where the next coach who signs up is going to be placed in your organization. So we always want to make sure that we're setting that so that we're building our business intentionally. Remember, we've talked about that already. And here we are talking about it again. We want to build on purpose. We want to have a plan. And we want to follow that plan. Okay? So right off the bat, brand new coach, our goal is to get to Emerald, and we've already talked about that, and we did a whole video on Emerald and how you get there and why you should want to get there and what happens when you get there. So if you haven't seen that yet, go back and watch it. But the first thing that we want to do is to get to Emerald, and that means that we want a personally sponsored coach on each leg, left and right. Okay, so the first two are easy. You're going to go into that preferred placement, and the first one's going to go on your left, and the second one's going to go on your right, or you choose. First one on your right, second one on your left. It doesn't matter, because you need one on each leg. Now, the one thing that might matter, and that is if your sponsor can tell you which is going to be your power leg, which is going to be your strong leg. And sometimes your sponsor can tell you that, sometimes not. It really depends on how your sponsor is building, and it depends on where you've come into the organization. For instance, when I came into the business, I didn't necessarily have one leg or the other that was going to be a known power leg. And in fact, for the first year, my right side was really my strong side and started taking off first. But within a year's time, maybe even a little bit less than that, a couple of rock stars woke up on the left side, and the left side became the strong side, and that's been the case all the way up to today. My left side is still my strong side, and that's what we call the power leg. The weak leg is what we call your profit leg. And I'll get into that later, so that'll make more sense to you. But right off in the beginning, Emerald Coach, we just want left and right. And that caveat is, if your sponsor is able to tell you that either left or right is likely to be your power leg, and you're signing your spouse up, and we did a video on that also, so if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that as to why you want to get your spouse signed up right away, and some thoughts on that. But in any case, if you can make that decision, then obviously you want the spouse to be signed up on the weak side if you're following the building strategy that I laid out in that earlier video, okay? Other than that, left and right, just make sure your first two are on opposite legs so that you make it to Emerald, okay? Now, once you have that happening, then great, you've got your first two personally sponsored coaches, and you've made your first rank advancement. And if you've watched that Emerald video, you know that also that means you're now eligible to start earning bonuses under the team cycle bonus, okay? So that's going to help direct us where we go from here. And in my humble opinion, the first thing that we're building for is to get you to the diamond rank, because that's really where the business starts, and hopefully you watched the diamond video that we did earlier so that you understand why I believe that's the case. If you haven't seen that yet, go back and make sure you watch that video. But that's our first goal, And that's going to drive how we build in the beginning. We're not necessarily thinking about strong leg, weak leg at this point. We're not necessarily even thinking about volume yet. What we're trying to do is get ourselves to diamond, which means we need at least 8 personally sponsored coaches, and they need to be split up 4 on each of those legs, okay? And so again, I'm going to throw in a caveat here. The only caveat is that if, again, your sponsor can tell you that one of these legs is in fact going to be your power leg, and you'll understand once you get through this video how someone would be able to tell you that and how someone would know that. But for now, if you're able to get that information, then what I would suggest is once you get to Emerald, let's say your sponsor tells you that this left leg is going to be your power leg, and that will mean that you should actually already see some people being sponsored over here on this leg. And what's happening is they're being sponsored by people above you who share this leg, and that'll make more sense to you again as we get going here. But if your sponsor can tell you that, then what I would suggest is that your next 4, after you get to Emerald, your next 4 all be placed on the opposite leg, opposite of the strong leg, okay? And the reason for that is that if you already have a strong leg, if you've been placed on a power leg, you're going to see growth here happening on its own. And the cool thing is that through your 4 first personally sponsored coaches, you can start to drive volume against that strong leg so that you can push those cycles in the team cycle bonus that we talked about, okay? And again, there's a whole video on that, so if you haven't seen that yet, this isn't making sense to you, back up and make sure you go ahead and watch that video, okay? So, if that's not the case, and I'm telling you folks, for most of us, it's not. For most of us, we come in and that strong week is going to kind of work itself out as we continue to build. And if that's the case, and you're like most everybody else in the business, then what we're going to do is just alternate left and right, until we have at least 4 personally sponsored on each side. And I like to tell my new coaches, let's make a goal of 5 personally sponsored on each side at least, because you want a little insurance there, right? If the minimum for holding the rank of diamond is 4 on each side, with 1 on each side at least being emerald, then let's make sure we've got at least 1 extra personally sponsored on each side so that we're not going to lose rank if one particular person happens to go inactive or something in a given week. Okay, so that's a great goal in the beginning, is let's try to get 10 personally sponsored coaches, 5 on each side, building towards our diamond, okay? And again, I simply just alternate them, because you can try to crystal ball who's going to be a rock star and who's going to do the business and who isn't. But truth is, in the beginning, that's a lot of reading tea leaves and kind of not worth your time at this point. What we want to do is just get the people placed so that we can get you to diamond, okay? And again, that's unless your coach can tell you, oh, absolutely, your left leg is your strong leg, or, I have some emeralds on my team who've been around for a little while, and they know who their strong leg is because they can see it in their business. And if that's the case, then as you're building for your first 8 or 10, put your first 4 or 5 over there on the weak leg, because you're going to push yourself some team cycle bonuses along the way, because you have that opportunity. You're already emerald, and you have a strong leg, so that you can cycle against it, okay? But all of that being said, for all the rest of us, as we're building, alternating, I want you again to make sure you're getting used to going into that preferred placement. And you're going to see that when you go into the preferred placement, one of the options is set preferred placement. That's what you want to take. Don't choose the automatic one. Choose set preferred placement. And then you're going to see that there's a little drop down of some choices. You can choose left, right, you can choose weak outside, you can choose first available, you can choose weak first available. Here's a tip. The only 2 that I think you should ever use are left and right. And here's why. As this thing builds out, as you can imagine, this coach here is going to build, and this coach has a left leg and a right leg, and this coach has a left leg and a right leg, and this coach over here has the same thing. And you can see how these things begin to build. What happens when you choose first available, it says that your next coach goes down one level. It says, is there anything available here? No. Goes down another level, and let's just say this coach had already started. It's going to find the next available at this level, which means that you're going to be placing people sort of all over the place. We don't want that. Here's what we want, okay? And here's why we want to be building intentionally. If you make sure that your personally sponsored coaches are always either on your far left or your far right, and when you choose left or right, that's what it does. Far left, far right, outside left, outside right, which means that even though this whole thing is your left leg, and you could choose to place a personally sponsored coach in here, if you're following the left-right pattern, all of your PS coaches on your left side are going to share a left leg. Okay? And if you're teaching people on your team to do that, then they are going to continue to contribute to the building of this left leg, because when this coach sponsors on her left side, it's going to be all the way down here, and it's going to benefit all of your personally sponsored coaches all the way up the line. They will all have a shared left leg, which is their power leg, which you are all building together. Because if you're all following that pattern, then every time you, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person above you, whenever they go left, if we're all going far left, then we're all adding to this line, which obviously creates a great benefit for you and all of your personally sponsored coaches. You're all in it together, you're all working, adding, and contributing to creating that power leg, which obviously benefits everybody, makes growth easier for everyone, because if everybody knows they're going to be getting new coaches on this leg from themselves, from you, from everyone underneath them, it's going to grow rather quickly. And then, as you can see, we can do some of those things that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, which is predicting which of your legs is going to be the strong leg, which of the leg is going to tend to sort of take on a life of its own, generating large amounts of volume that you can then push cycles against by merely needing to build that inside, okay? Which means that you build both legs only for rank, because the rank requirements, and we went through those earlier, will require a certain amount of building on each leg. But once you've got those minimums to hold the rank, you can then concentrate all of your growth over on the weak leg, pushing cycles against volume that's being generated by you, all of your personally sponsored, and all of their personally sponsored, okay? The other cool thing is, if you do that, and you teach that on your team, then you create a team that has two power legs. If I'm always going left with my PS sponsors, far left, and always far right with my PS coaches, I'm setting that same thing up on both sides. If you're sponsored into my team, you're going to be on a power leg, because that's how we build. And if we all build that way, and you teach your team to build that way, then you will always be creating these highways of volume that your newly sponsored coaches are going to benefit from as they come into the business. And that starts right away, folks. It starts right in the beginning. Because, as I said, not all of us are blessed with coming into that situation. For me, when I first came into the business, it wasn't set up that way, but luckily someone taught me that very early on, so that I was able to take control of that in my own organization, so that we now consciously build power lines, okay? So Hopefully all of that's making sense. Far left, far right, all the time with your personally sponsored coaches. Now, there's always going to be, right, the odd situation where you may choose someday down the line as your business grows. Let's say this person over here turns into a rock star, starts bringing in coaches, starts building a beautiful organization. They happen to be at an inside leg of one of your personally sponsored, but as your organization grows, you may choose to come in and put a coach here, still on your left, but it's on this person's right, and that comes into play, again, when you do get a prospect of someone who's really running, and that's your way of being able to help that person along the way. And you can do that under my business, under graphical genealogy. And then you can go in there, and we'll put up some photos and still shots and screenshots so that you can see what that looks like. But basically in the graphical genealogy, you see this, what your business looks like, and you can actually go in and choose and pick the spot, pick the open spot wherever you want your next coach to go, okay? But if you're new, and by new, I mean basically pre-5-star diamond, and you're still building, I really suggest that you think long and hard about, even if you're not doing it at this point, moving to building outside, lining up all of your own personally sponsored coaches, far left, far right, so that they're going to have that shared leg. It becomes very powerful later when you start focusing into the next level once you get the rank that you're trying to get to, which is now driving volume through that rank so that you can actually drive income into your business. And that's all going to be dependent upon how you're able to drive those cycles. So being able to create strong legs that are shared amongst your teammates becomes a very powerful tool, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you now. Now what I want to do is step on to the next level and just go a little bit further down the road, because I do believe that even if you're brand new and you join today, your building plan needs to be very clear of how are you going to get to Emerald and how are you building there, and we already talked about that. How are you getting to Diamond and how are you setting up along the way, and that's what I've been talking about here with your first 10 coaches and how we are placing them about future growth. Now once you've made it to Diamond, I believe that you then also have to have a plan, and you should have it right from the beginning, of how are you getting to 2-star and then how are you getting to 5-star. Those are the posts that we're trying to reach so that we can build sustainable, long-term success, build the kind of business that we've been talking about since we started this program. And if you're in this program, then I think that's the kind of business that you're here to build. That's what we're trying to talk about. So you got to have that plan right out front. Okay, so let me talk just a little bit about that. Once we've made it to Diamond, we've got our 4 to 5 personally sponsored on each side, and one of those each is Emerald. Where do we go from there? Well, actually, let me step back one step. Let's say you've got your 4 to 5 and you don't have your Emeralds yet. One of the key aspects about signing that spouse up is you have the ability to control the creation of one of those Emeralds. Once you have, and I tell people, or I advise people, that you don't take this step until you've got everybody lined up, until that can really be the switch. And hopefully you'll have your other Emerald actually on the other side, and you can think about that in your early placement. If someone comes into the business and says, I really am here to do the business, I'm not here to be a discount buyer, I'm not here to just be a club member, I want to do this business, I would make sure that early on that person got sponsored on the opposite side of where my spouse is, even if it's down here, or let's say that person didn't come up until all the way down here, which is fine, The reason for that is that once that person goes emerald, and now I'm only one emerald away from diamond, I can then help my spouse get to emerald, and then boom, we've turned the key, and now we're at diamond. Okay, and of course that's kind of an ideal situation, and it might not necessarily flow that way. You might get 2 or 3 people on this side who turn emerald before anybody over here happens to do that, and then that spouse thing doesn't end up being the key for you. It'll come into play later on. But if you can plan your attack and understand that that's what you're looking out for, then that can be a really nice tool and a really nice boost to help you make that step into diamond. And then that continues on, okay? And here's the way it continues on. Again, making sure that I am building in a sense of looking forward, and as people are coming into my business, I have a pretty good sense of whether they became a coach just to become a discount buyer, which is okay because they still count as personally sponsored coaches, and then they're getting the benefit of the discount and all of that fun stuff. But then there's also going to be the people who we're really looking for, and those are the people who want to be our business partners and who want to grow a business as well and help us reach and help more people by also sharing the opportunity. And so we want to be thoughtful about where we're placing those people and how we're placing them. And in the beginning, making sure that we've got at least one of that minded kind of a person on the leg opposite of our spouse. Because here's the road to 2-star. Once we get a diamond, an individual over here, personally sponsored over here, it doesn't matter which side, obviously, I'm just working opposite the spouse leg right now, that goes diamond on their own because they've joined you, they've partnered up, they're in the training program with you, your success partners are working together and they're moving their business forward too. Now you have a really cool opportunity because obviously you know how to do this. You've already sponsored 10 people, you're moving along, your business is going great. One of the people you sponsored has turned diamond now. You have a very, I won't say easy because it's never easy, but easier road to 2-star because now you can just apply all those things that you've learned working together with your spouse to bring your spouse's business to diamond, duplicating what you did yourself already once, and now, boom, you're at 2-star diamond. 2-star diamond requires a diamond on each leg, and that's why I'm saying ideally, when you do connect with the business partner coaches in the beginning, line up at least 1 or 2 over here on the side opposite your spouse, so that you'll then be able to be in control of yourself getting to 2-star. Okay? The most frustrating thing or the comment of what's the most frustrating thing in growing your business that I hear from coaches is that waiting on somebody else to go diamond, or how do I help somebody else go diamond? How do I move that forward? And the truth is everybody's going to build on their own, and you can't push anybody or make anybody do anything that they're not going to do on their own. So the key is finding those business partners who want to build on their own. But obviously another cool key is how many of these things can I be in control of? And if you've got your 1 diamond and going 2-star is dependent upon your spouse's site getting to diamond, then obviously that's now in your hands. So yippee, you can make that transition. Now here's the cool thing that happens once you do that. You've got your diamond, your diamond, you helped your spouse get diamond, so now you're 2-star diamond. And under our compensation plan, once you make it to 2-star diamond, you're able to open a clone business center, a second business center that is you, that you get to place anywhere you want in your business. Now we're going to get into some more complicated placement stuff in later videos, and I don't want to go down the road too far and complicate things, other than to say that if you have been able to figure out which is your power leg, and your upline sponsor's been helping you with that, you've been growing your business the way I just laid out the strategy of lining up your PS coaches, if you've been working against a power leg and you've got your spouse on the weak side, if you've chosen to go down that road, you watched my spouse video, you watched my diamond video, if you're following that strategy, then the cool thing is you get to place that second business center wherever you want. It counts as a personally sponsored coach of yours, and let's just say that your spouse was building it. This is still, let's just say this is your weak side. Okay, spouse is here. Spouse has this shared strong leg because you've been doing a far outside sponsorship strategy, and so is your spouse. You can put second business center on spouse's weak leg to now drive volume against spouse's strong leg, optimizing cycles here. Then obviously all of this is your weak leg driving against this strong leg, optimizing team cycle bonus here as well. And so now you've used that second business center to optimize team cycle bonus in 2 of your business centers, yours and your spouse's, and you've now got a third site that you are in control of. So what do? You come down here and you get to business. You duplicate what you did up here, you duplicate what you did over here, you build another diamond. Now you're 3-star, no, now you're 3-star diamond. Let me get ahead of myself. Now you're 3-star diamond, but 2 of them are diamonds that you have built yourself. Along with you helped build your spouse. Now you built your second business center. You've jumped all the way to 3-star diamond. You only need 2 more to get to 5-star diamond, which is really where this opportunity opens wide up, and that's the top tier level of recognized leadership within the national network, and all kinds of cool stuff happens, and all kinds of earning opportunities and long-term sustainability, all those things that we talk about. That's where we want to get you to. Now, if you are in control of 2 out of the 3, you only need 2 more. So, what does that mean? That means that if you build this way, and you think about it this way, then 5-star diamond really only takes you finding 3. Because one of them is going to be your spouse's site, and one of them is going to be your second business center. That leaves 3 to fill in to get you to that 5-star diamond. Okay? So, 5-star diamond, I got to find 5 diamonds. No, you have to find 3 business partners, build in a way that follows a plan and a strategy, and now 5-star diamond doesn't seem so far away. Because once you learn how to build a diamond, guess what, folks? We just get to business and we keep repeating and we keep duplicating. That's what this business is all about. We want to invite in and share with as many people as possible. We want to empower as many people as possible to help themselves and to help others. Helping themselves through improving and bringing positive life change in the areas of health and fitness, but also helping them, if they choose to take you up on the opportunity, also helping them to build a business and helping others to build businesses that they are sponsoring as well, continuing to duplicate, continuing to grow your own organization. And the only way you grow your own organization is helping other people to grow their organizations. Okay, so I know we've covered a lot here, and it's kind of a lot of meaty stuff. This is the beginnings of our talks on coach placement, on building the business in a way that's going to help you to optimize your ability to earn under the compensation plan, that's going to optimize your ability to build a business that's going to be sustainable, and that's going to be strong, that's going to have a vitality and a life of its own, so that we can do what we talked about doing in the beginning, and that is helping you to break free from the chains of the 9-to-5 world, helping you to break out of the pattern of trading time for dollars. This business opportunity and this business model allows you and empowers you to stop trading time for dollars and instead trade results for dollars. How many more people can you help teamed up with a team of people doing the same thing than if you're doing it all on your own? That's where the power in this opportunity is, building your organization, building your team so that we can reach as many people as possible, but also doing it with a plan, doing it with a strategy, doing it in a way that's going to optimize your ability to earn, but also optimize all of your teammates' abilities, okay? If you're just hodgepodging and throwing everybody in, then you may be missing some potential, or your personally sponsored coaches may be missing some potential. There's no better way to move your personally sponsored coaches forward than to get them into a position where it's going to be easier for them to do that, where they're going to see growth, where they're going to see the team connection, where they're going to see and feel that they are part of a network, because as the team grows, their own business grows, and they can see and feel that. So some of the things that we talked about here today are going to help you lay the foundation for that. Okay, I hope that all makes sense for you. This is one of those ones that you're going to probably want to go back, listen to a couple of times, post some questions up over on the Bearcat Training Camp Facebook page. That's become a really, really vital component of this course. We've got some great conversations going on over there. So this is a good one to talk about. Let's get over there and talk about. Some of you guys may be building a little bit different. Get in there and talk about that too. This isn't the only way to do it. And I've said that in the beginning, and we're going to continue to say that again. These are the strategies that I've used. These are the strategies that I share on my team. They're not the only strategies. It's not the only way to build this business. They've worked for us. We've now created 4 members of the Millionaire Club and a downline of almost 40,000 members building this way. So we know it works. But it's not the only way to do it. Let's get in there and talk about what other people are doing, what you're doing, what's going on, ask some questions so that we can give you some of the nuances and the finer points. But the point here is build with a plan, build on purpose, make sure you have a strategy, make sure you're thinking long term, treat your business like a business. All right, we'll see you next time.